Use this?
I can't.
All right.
I can't. It's not coming up on there.
It's a live audio.
Right now?
Yep, should be live right now. I'm good.
Well,
Well, hey, good evening. We're just getting situated here. Thank you so much for joining us. If you mute it, please, Maggie. Would you like my iPad?
It doesn't matter.
Well, it's bigger words and stuff.
Sure.
Is that good?
So,
There you go. All right. We're going to be get going here in just a minute. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Lukasevich. I'm joined by my wife Maggie. This is Carbon Matters, where we're going to discuss over about the next 58 minutes or so the issues and matters of most relevance to all of us that have occurred in about the last 3 or 4 weeks. Again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're broadcasting live from my office, 2 Hazard Square, in the courthouse annex, referred to also now as the administration building. It's been a beautiful week here in Jim Thorpe and Carbon County, at least weather-wise. Got a lot that's been happening since we last met, but Maggie, I gotta tell you, I'm already looking at 20 August. I'm very excited about 20 August.
20 August.
Right. You don't yet know the relevance of 20 August. You might, once I mention it, but that's our next Carbon Matters. 20 August.
Okay.
It's critically important. And if there is a Carbon Matters, I really want to emphasize and get out there on social media. I'm actually even thinking about doing an ad in the Times News for the 20 August one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really
right. Yeah.
right, because we're going to have a special guest.
Yes. Yeah.
Not
me.
we've had Jarrett, we've had Bing, we've had Nicholas.
We had Marianne Llewellyn.
Right, Marianne. No, she was a guest host.
Oh, guest host.
Was a guest host. So we've had guests on before, but I don't think any are going to compare to this one.
Wow,
another issue.
You never say stuff like that.
Well, it's just, again, this
because
is.
now everybody that's been on, if they want.
Well, they were great. They were great. But unquestionably so. But I look so forward to revealing the special guest host on What's My Line on 20 August. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to try mixing it up a little bit tonight. Normally I have the newspapers in my hand as I go through them, so I'm going to challenge Maggie a little bit. She's going to try to facilitate the conversation by guiding me through the headlines, some of the highlighted headlines of the last 4 weeks or so.
I want to apologize because I've always gone off my device. Chris has totally different people on his that are watching, so I never say hi to them. We never give a shout out. Like I was about to say, hi Pam.
Hi Pam.
Roberta, and then this Pam West.
Yeah.
And Donna Vlad. And
yeah.
I'm so sorry I do shout outs to people that are on mine, but never on Chris's. There's like a bunch of names on here I don't even recognize. So
right, but the names are right there. But again, I welcome anyone from any Facebook grouping or friends list that you might have. Wow, there's all kinds of stuff. You can unfold those here.
You want me to do?
Yeah, here. Give me those.
I can unfold.
Unfold them.
I can
all right,
unfold
that
them.
goes last.
This goes last. So I can leave it here.
Yeah, you can. Go ahead. Good.
I can do this,
Now
Chris.
flip them over once you get them unfolded.
Sure, Chris. Wow.
All right. Wow. So I wonder what's been happening in Carbon County almost the last, I think this is 5 weeks because we had to shift 1 week. I think
You
it's
said you had these
5.
highlighted.
Well, or they're right in your face where you can't miss what they're about.
Yay!
Yeah. Wow. Carbon reveals renovation plan, right?
Yes.
Right. So I guess the resurrection of what was formerly known as the Susquehanna Street process. So I want to thank all the individuals who starting about 2 years back up until really May of this past year have worked so hard to prevent major construction along Susquehanna Street in Jim Thorpe, that monstrosity 2-level parking garage that was going to be built. Instead, what is occurring and I did mention this in the meeting after the meeting, which I do every other week after the commissioners meeting, we'll be renovating the first floor of 76 Susquehanna Street, the existing building where the elections, bureaus, workforce, you have planning and development, children and youth services, and also juvenile probation. The first floor of that will be renovated, the space maximized, and then 44 Susquehanna, which is the old archives building, maintenance, storage. That's actually going to be completely renovated. It's going to reflect the architecture here in Jim Thorpe, the seat of Carbon County government. And in there, we're going to move the elections office. There will be a multi-purpose room. Upstairs will be planning and development. Also will be up there in workforce. So again, we're going to optimize space, and then we'll move adult probation from the courthouse to 76 Susquehanna.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's going to be the big move there.
I thought it...
Yeah.
Okay.
No, trust me. So that's it. Yeah, so that project is ongoing. I expect in about September for that, maybe late August, that will go out for bid. Construction, quote unquote, which is really renovation, will begin on 44 Susquehanna just after what would have been the third, or is the third full weekend in October. Then at the end of November, beginning of December, we'll start renovations on 76 Susquehanna.
Well, that's good timing because that's after, quote unquote, the non-October festival, fall festival.
Right. It will be. So it'll be just right on the end of that. They'll start mobilizing, and even more than likely, it'll be very late October as mobilization really starts. So, yep. So that should be good. It doesn't fulfill all our space needs. I am somewhat I'm greatly disappointed in that because I think we could have met all the needs of the county with one purchase of a large commercial office building here in the county seat. All right, let's move on to something else, Maggie. What else is going on?
So here's it's the letter to the editor. Remember when you cast your vote?
Yeah.
And it's highlighted. The Democratic governor in Pennsylvania granted waivers for businesses to remain open, but refused to provide the criteria used. The names of businesses granted waivers or those that were refused.
Yeah, and a list finally did come out, fortunately. But I think what that really brings us, Maggie, into something significant that came out today. And that's right there, our last item, if I can pull that up.
Sure.
Right? We had the new guidance from the governor, referred to as targeted mitigation efforts in response to really an increase in COVID. And I think all of us know about that through already in Carbon County and recognize the significant influence or impact that's going to have on businesses who I from looking around where we travel, we're starting a resurgence and starting really to build up their clientele again as they opened up. Wouldn't you say? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You wanted to say something. You had a thought.
I'm wondering where you're going to go with this because I don't know what you're. It seems like he's locking things down again.
Well, right, yeah, tightening things up, and I think one of the other unfortunate parts of it, he did state, the governor, within this past week also, that counties would have a greater role in say when it came to any rollback. Now, he may have been simply referring to the red, yellow, green, going from quote-unquote green back to yellow, but I think this is critical where the county should have had more say in this rollback because of the impact it does have on our businesses.
Just quickly,
yeah.
Eric Bott said, how about the old junior high for the county, Chris?
Yeah. You hit the proverbial nail on the head. There it was. I'm looking at it. Jim Thorpe Area School District, 40,929 usable feet. And think about this, Eric, right? You take that second floor where the gymnasium is now, you actually could floor that entire thing to give you additional office space right, to make that almost 41,000 square feet. Now it is somewhat limited in parking spaces. In where the Packer School used to be, right, our elementary school there, it only has 40 parking spots. So what you would have to do is put on at least one level parking deck. There isn't sufficient parking on the side streets there, on Center, on that continuation of North, or on the side street where the magistrate's office. So you would probably have to put in an $800,000 to $900,000 additional parking level in that. You could probably buy it for about $300,000. I'm comfortable saying that I think an offer could have been easily made to the school district, and they would have given up that property to get in probably into spaces that would be more suitable for the very small number of people who are spread out throughout that building. And matter of fact, during the renovation process, we are looking for, you know, some space to rent, and that might be an option also, to at least rent some temporary space. But I've always been a big supporter of what I call the elementary school, having been the commercial property of choice for meeting the needs today and into the future.
But you haven't said why.
Why it hasn't happened?
Right.
Because my colleagues were dead set on getting something done now, getting, you know, half the problem solved versus getting the 90% solution. So that creates a challenge for me. So what am I going to do when these go out for bid? Do I vote no on principle? And that principle is we're not really doing the full job. We're doing half a job. Commissioner Arner himself said this is going to meet 50% of our space needs. Wow, wait a minute. Well, why don't we step back and meet 100% of our space needs today into the future? So again, I have been in our discussions with the builders and stuff. They know where I stand. I have been involved ensuring that, because it's 2 votes to 1, I know where I stand on this issue, but I've been actively involved in the planning, the decision making in that, because since it's going to happen, it's a done deal. I want to ensure we're using it, we're maximizing our tax dollars and getting the best space we can get for what's going to occur.
Leslie said look bar seating was a major change, and it isn't safe to be sitting that close.
Yeah, but I did see, you know, two family members sitting together at the bar. I mean, versus sitting across from each other right now.
Yes.
Right?
We could even kiss if we want.
Right, and you still can there. Because I was looking at Molly's today, they still have the plastic up at Macaluso's. They have it outside. They're not serving it indoor at all. But we also say limiting to 25% of fire code size. That includes staff. So if it was 100, you can have 25 people in there, which includes the staff. So the waitresses or stuff rolling around. I think also we're back to 250 persons for large events, and indoor events, gatherings of no more than 25.
Wait, 250, is that for indoor or?
No, outdoor events and gatherings of more than 250 are prohibited. So outdoor events, you can't have more than 250. Interesting though, I could have more than 250 people on Mock Chunk Lake Park. Hickory Run State Park can have 75% capacity. Tuscarora State Park, Locust, Hickory Run.
So what do you?
Well, again, it doesn't match up. So I can have 600 people on the beach, which would be 75% capacity, but I can't have 250 in any other type of event. Again, we continue to see this
Right.
where there's inconsistency and
It's
stuff
like they
like
didn't
that.
think it all the way through.
Yeah, and again,
But there's so many
there are so many variables. Yeah, there's
I mean,
no doubt about
I
that.
don't envy anybody that job because it's just too hard to.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me make sure. Leslie said smaller dive bars were still packed. And
Yeah.
Sarah Louise said the limitations are going to ruin small businesses in our county.
I think it's going to make it really hard, regardless of the amount of assistance that's been out there already, such as the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, even the 5.79 county grant program. Again, it's not going to be able to keep some businesses alive, unfortunately. Yep.
Carbon covers bus fare increase for qualified seniors.
Yeah, so quite a few. It would have been in about February or March, when we were notified Lanta, which runs the Carbon County Community Transit, that they were going to need to, because they hadn't done it in years, raise the fares 90 cents, right? Well, fortunately, worked arduously hard to find a way to mitigate that. Now, the majority of riders are actually sponsored by our Area Agency on Aging, so they get a notably reduced rate. And based upon that Area Agency on Aging sponsoring, and that comes from things like the lottery ticket sales, is where those funds come from, that takes it down to 30 cents out of pocket for sponsored seniors. And a lot of them are going on shopping trips, they might be going to the senior center. So what I fought for, and with my colleagues, and it wasn't hard to convince anyone, look, at 30 cents, we can subsidize that for a year to try to find a longer term solution for the increase in the price. So through the remainder of this calendar year, the county is going to further subsidize the seniors so that they would have no increase in out-of-pocket expenses for those who are sponsored. And that could be $9,000 or $10,000, $9,000 to $10,000 one-way trips. It'd be $3,000 to $4,000, if I recall. $3,000.
Worthy cause.
Worthy, absolutely.
Yeah.
We just need to get our senior centers back open in a safe, responsible manner. And my sense is soft opening is in the near future, probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay,
and then we'll start ramping it up so they can start interacting in a safe, responsible manner again, and not having to be shut-ins.
Right.
Because older folks.
I think this time has been difficult for a lot of people, and I think there's definitely a lot of depression and maybe just people having a rough time with it. But I think for seniors especially, it's tough for them to not be interacting with their peers.
Of course.
Having that that time with others.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for joining us. This is Commissioner Chris Lukasevich. I'm joined by my co-host and wife, Maggie Lukasevich. This is Carbon Matters. We're about once a month. We go ahead, create an opportunity to have a conversation. We have 3 different screens going here. Just behind the camera, we have maybe a 19 or 21 inch screen. I can see some stuff feeding there. I have an iPad here. I have Maggie's iPhone and stuff going on. But I want to make, go ahead.
Jeremy said, unless people are protesting, then it's unlimited, apparently.
That's right. So I suspect in Palmerton this weekend, we'll probably see more than 200.
More than 250.
And you know what? There won't be an outrage, nor will the state police come and break it up. Again, that's the hypocrisy of that. The hypocrisy, the hypocrisy, the hypocrisy.
Wow.
Right? Hey, the double standard.
The double standard.
Yep.
Roberta said Beltsville may be at 75% capacity, but so many people park and walk in, it can't be safe.
Yeah, it's unquestionable.
They really do that? They park outside and then walk in?
Yeah, they just go through the woods and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's horrible out there.
Yeah, Mary said apparently protesters apparently don't spread COVID.
Right. We've seen that. So, but again, I have to make a shameless plug for the next Carbon Matters. So I'm so excited. Come 20 August, Carbon Matters. It's going to be an hour-and-a-half marathon. The first half hour standard format, just having that conversation. But come on at 8:30, Mr. Joe Stearns, chairman of the Better Schuylkill PAC. Political Action Committee. What are we going to be talking about? One of my favorite political subjects, home rule in Pennsylvania. So that is like Carbon County having its own constitution, a charter, really reforming, transforming, revolutionizing county government. And there are multiple counties already in Pennsylvania that are home rule. So it's more like running like a business. That is, you have a CEO, a chief executive, and then you have a board of directors. So your board of directors are part-time, in many instances, part-time commissioners. And they come together like, again, a board of directors and provide guidance to the chief executive of the county. I'm excited about having this discussion. I talked about it in Government 101, Carbon County Government 101 of about 6 weeks ago. And I'm going to bring in a subject matter expert whose working the same initiative over in Schuylkill County. The ad's going to start going up on Facebook and social media this weekend, and then I'm going to be pushing it hard all the way to 20 August. I'm psyched about this one.
I have to say, he is so cute when he's so passionate about.
Well, I just know there's a better form of government than what we're doing. Lehigh County is an example of home rule. Again, that allows county government to determine truly its destiny. So anything that the Constitution or law doesn't forbid the county from doing, it can do. Again, I think in emergency situations, it will make decision making more effective, more efficient, more rapid. So I'm psyched about the opportunity. It takes 2 ways to get it done, to get the ball rolling, right? So that's 2 commissioners. We can simply pass a motion to begin an investigation committee, or really an assessment committee to it, or it's by petition. 5% of the number of voters in the last governor race is what you need. And here in Pennsylvania, I think it wasn't even about 1,200 is what we need in Carbon County. But we're going to talk about that more 20 August with Better Schuylkill PAC Joe Stearns.
Yes, come with an open mind.
Yep.
Carbon County sees increase in number of homeless. June 25th.
Yeah, and again, this was a much more detailed homeless census that was done here in the county. Right, but importantly about that, I was concerned with how the COVID-19 pandemic might impact those who are on the edge, right? Those who are still, but are potentially going to lose because of lack of employment.
Because a lot of people are one paycheck away from homelessness.
And
this is a situation where that might happen.
Yeah, and fortunately, through the CARES Act, there's a rent relief program. And stepping up to the plate to administer Carbon County's program, Catholic Charities of the Allentown Diocese, they are running our rent relief program. It is on the Carbon County Commissioner's Facebook page. I'll push it out again tomorrow. Have a conference call with Catholic Charities tomorrow to see how things are progressing. We've been up and running for about 2 weeks now. I hope to have Catholic Charities at next week's, the 23 July Commissioners meeting, where we can do a media event to get the word even further out there. And that would provide, through December, about $700 up to $750 a month of rent relief for individuals who qualify. So again, thank you for Catholic Charities for stepping out.
Yeah, okay, so, oops, sorry.
The worst thing that can happen on radio?
Dead air.
Dead air.
Yeah.
So keep it moving.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is not highlighted either, but I guess it's in your face, one of these two things.
Right. It's not Northern Lehigh approves athletic resocialization plan. Not really concerned. Carbon working on COVID-19 relief funds. Man, I am excited about that one too. So here it is.
Me too.
Carbon.
Me too.
Yep. COVID-19 relief, Carbon County block grant. This is the $5.79 million. and I did see it has been deposited into our account. I saw the documentation yesterday.
Not our account.
Not our account, the county's account. Right. It might have been $5.79, but not 5,000,000, 5.79.
Darn.
Right. Misrouting. Wrong ABA routing number, I guess, an account number. But $5.79 million. Application period opened yesterday, the 15th. Go to carboncounty.com, go to the portal. And as I go to the portal, as soon as you go to carboncounty.com, you're going to see a big image that says, COVID-19 relief. Carbon County Block Grant Portal. Click on there, and you can go right. You'll see 5 different boxes. Go ahead, click on applications. Before you even open an application, download a hyperlink. Read the general instructions, or you're doomed to failure.
Yes,
you
true.
are doomed to failure if you don't read the instructions.
Truly.
But I'm telling you what the key to this is. It's a PDF fillable form that allows us to take all that data and put it right into a database for audit trail, for the transparency a subportal that we've created. So you got to use a PDF fillable form that we have there. You have to download it. You can't fill it out on your browser.
That's right.
So you go to that hyperlink, click on it, save as your, whatever the name is, select maybe your desktop or a file folder, stick it in there, then open it up in Adobe Reader or one of the Acrobat programs. Fill it out. There is also instructions on there for your specific entity or group.
Yep.
That's right. So what we have is we've set up 5 committees. So the organizational structure, and again, you can see this in the portal, the Board of Commissioners. Then we have a Block Grant Administration Group, or the BCAG, as I refer to it as, good Army acronym, BCAG. And then these 5 committees: businesses under 100, small businesses, or business advocacy entities, municipalities committees, nonprofits, 501c3 19, tourism committee, and then a catch-all. So you fill out your application, attach your attachments, required documentation, boom, submit it. You'll get an email back saying thank you, and
Not right away.
No, you will get a thank you again, because what happens with our security protocols here when it comes to us emails coming in, they go to kind of a checkbox, they get vetted, then they're allowed actually in to our personal boxes, and then you'll be kicked back a email message, thank you for your application. The application period is from 15 to 31 July. Once we have brought them all together, it's not first come, first serve. Everyone put in based upon their needs. Just do it by midnight on the 31st, or it's going to be shutting down the portal. 1st through the 7th, our BCAG will be reviewing them. Then they'll go ahead, get them to the committees, who will have 2 weeks to assess them, review them, prioritize them. They'll then nominate those applicant grant requests to the Board of Commissioners. And on or about 13 to 14 September, we'll be making the public announcement of the awardees. And then we'll begin the disbursement process. Preferably all electronic, all right? But to the accounts. We'll come back once the awardees, the grants have been awarded. There'll be a second contact made to get the bank routing information. All right. So that's the block grant program. So that's really what that is. Great program.
All right, next one. Officials call ahead before coming to county offices.
Right. So again, we are looking out for the health and safety and welfare of you and our employees. So we continue to impress upon any individual who wants to come into the courthouse for a regular transaction, prothonotary office, perhaps filing paperwork, coming in to the mapping office, the tax claims, tax assessment. Call ahead, make an appointment. It just makes it easier for workflow and for minimizing people grouping together. So again, please be considerate of others, to include county employees and others who may want to have services. And in regards to that, you just had extended hours.
For my concealed carry
Yep.
permit. The only thing I will say about that though, they're thinking about stopping the Saturdays.
Yeah, there isn't the demand.
Right, there isn't the demand.
Yeah.
And I think they're even considering Wednesdays too being. I went on a Wednesday because our daughter has to have someone with her, and so I had to wait till Chris got home from work so that I could then come over and get mine done. I got mine done, and
Yeah.
I'm good for 5 more years.
So again, if you need your concealed carry, or they call licensed carry, hey, the Constitution, the Second Amendment gives me the right to carry. But concealed carry, hey, get that permit, update it, get it renewed, get a new one, make an appointment, just call the sheriff's office. They'll set up the appointment, come in, get it done. $20 for the renewal.
$20 for the renewal.
All right.
If I were you, I would pick up, because the guy down whoever the police officer is that's at the
deputy sheriff.
I'm sorry. Oh, you're
It's
right.
a deputy sheriff.
Sorry, deputy sheriff. Sorry. He has the
No
forms.
offense mentioned.
No offense meant.
Yes.
He has the forms there. You can pick it up and then take it home, fill it all out. That way, when you come for your appointment, it'll be even faster.
So why isn't that a PDF fillable form on the sheriff's website? And the sheriff does have a Facebook page, by the way. Carbon County Sheriff does have a Facebook page.
Get on his page and say something about that.
That's right. Why don't they have a PDF fillable
because
form?
then I could have downloaded it at home, filled it out, come in, and just handed it in.
Just signed it there in person, right?
Honestly, that's what took the longest, was me filling that out, and then once they called me, I was like, get my picture taken. She had it done.
Well, I'm going to talk to the sheriff and say, why not at least get that form online?
Sure.
All right. I'll go ahead and talk to them. I'll post it if they're willing to provide it. I'll go ahead. I'll get it on our Facebook page. I'll get it on their Facebook page. Bingo.
Easy peasy.
We'll get it. Yeah, easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
That's something we can do.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
All right. Great. So Carbon joins trust to get better interest rate.
Right.
Oh.
So yeah, that was the Pennsylvania grant.
I was kind of distracted by it.
Right. It's called Pliget. So it's municipalities come together to invest their funds. We were currently getting on a large sum of money only a 0.25 return on that. But the treasurer, controller, the commissioners come together and said, we need to squeeze more juice out of this particular sum of money. It ends up being around $12 million. So we're almost going to double the return rate on that almost $12 to $13 million that is being invested. Very liquid funds though, so if we need to pull them out, we can go ahead and do that. But that was another great collaboration between the treasurer, controller, the board of commissioners. We're also trying to move as much to cashless as we can. And so part of that is two things, right? And I know people say all debts, right? Legal tender for all debts, public and private.
Right.
Got it. Always need to accept cash, right? But again, I can't take a million pennies. But nonetheless, the fact is, right, we want less cash going through people's hands. It's just good business, right? So the more, and we have a history of problems here in Carbon County government with cash disappearing.
Not just our county. It's like
right.
every county around us.
It's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic.
It appears.
Yes.
So again, anything we can do to lessen the amount of cash that's moving through hand, which creates
the temptation is
the
too
temptation.
great for some
Yeah,
people.
let's eliminate that. Working on that at Mock Chunk Lake Park at admissions also. That's my newest kind of laser focus when it comes to getting rid of cash. The kiosks are going to help us reduce them that are coming in. We're going to talk about that shortly here.
Sure. Next, Kidder Supervisor Francosa resigns, position is filled.
All right, so on 21 June, if I recall correctly, Barb Francosa, Kidder Township Supervisor, who's been a good friend and I would say colleague of ours, enjoyed breakfast with her, conversations with her, township supervisor meetings and stuff like that. decided to refocus her time and energy, and I suspect it has a lot to do with grandchildren out in Texas who she commutes to on a real regular,
twice a month
it
basis.
seems, you know.
And
so
she doesn't fly, she drives.
So I can understand her getting her priorities straight and right, but she's going to remain active in the county, to include as on the board of the Carbon Chamber Economic Development Corporation.
Oh, good.
So thanks, Barb, for all the work and
thank you,
opportunities we've had together. And I love those 2 signs that were out there. Those big 4x8 signs that were out at Pine Point Plaza.
Yes.
Yeah. All decorated with pumpkins and bales of hay.
Yes.
Yeah. That was the first one we highlighted.
Yeah,
You know, we did
seasonal.
that. Yeah, very seasonal.
Right. Trump campaign sues Pennsylvania over mail-in drop-off sites for ballots.
Right. So the Trump
Not just us, but everybody.
Right. So 67 counties, to include Carbon, has been sued by the Trump campaign. Now, I just did see the Democrats, right? The Democratic Party. I don't know if it was the Democratic National Committee has also sued.
It just said Chris Lukasevich is watching.
Yes, I am. I'm on multiple devices.
Why now? After we've been.
For
it's been
35 minutes.
35 minutes.
You're trying to distract from the
I'm
politics.
sorry. I'm sorry.
So the Trump campaign has filed a lawsuit against the Commonwealth. It didn't name the governor, though. I don't know why. It's a governor, basically, who has set the election laws, Act 77, right? But what was happening, 2 specific things, if I recall. First and foremost, they're claiming, and rightly so, that what was occurring was individuals would come, drop off their ballots, right, their quote-unquote mail-in ballots, and not physically hand them to an election worker. There may have been a drop box. For example, at 76 Susquehanna, there was a mail slot created so that voters with their mail-in ballots or absentees could just come up and drop it in the slot. Now, there was a deputy sheriff with his eyes right on it the whole time. And as soon as those dropped, they would notify the election worker to come out. But obviously, the Trump campaign believes that is illegal, that there has to be hand-to-hand. I hand you my mail-in ballot to an election official. The second one was, if you've ever done a mail-in ballot, or actually an absentee ballot, there's an outer envelope which has the address and addressee on it, and there's an inner security envelope. What the Trump campaign is saying, that it is contrary to election law to accept ballots that did not come sealed in both envelopes. So if it didn't have that confidential envelope, that internal envelope in which the actual ballot is placed, it's not a good vote. So again, my sense is they believe these are all things that can lead to greater election fraud. So that's the lawsuit they're referring to there.
I hope it doesn't go to fruition or whatever.
Well, I don't know what it's really going to do.
Okay,
what
so
reparations
I
they're
have
seeking.
no idea, but I hope it's the Flagstaff one. But
oh yeah, that's a pretty good one. Hey, that's neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. You know, a century-old Thorpe Center up for auction, and we know that auction is complete, right?
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Well, I know
again,
it
we're
was-
just
it was
waiting
pending.
for. Well, yeah, no, the sale is fine. They have 30 days to actually close the transaction.
Okay.
But they did have
they
a
didn't have a
bidder.
buyer.
Was it 1.5
1.4
or something like that?
I thought it was 1.
Yeah. So cuts come when money runs out. Of course they do. You don't have much to do. Oh, leaders want Halkovich out as commissioner
Oh, was
up
that-
there in Schuylkill. I need to talk to Joe Stearns about that too. That'd be
Yeah.
another topic to
That's
talk to him about on 20 August, like I mentioned. And that's the lead-in. Join us on 20 August when I'll be joined, and Maggie, with Joe Stearns, right? We're going to have a home rule discussion with our special guest,
You're holding up this
Joe
little
Stearns.
thing.
He's the chairman, Better Schuylkill PAC. We know Joe from other activities in our life. Great individual, very astute, very intelligent,
knowledgeable.
extremely well informed. I would
Yes.
say, you know what? Again, if there's one person I would follow locally, quote unquote, on Facebook, it would be Joe Stearns. And I do follow him on Facebook. So
It's a
again,
very funny profile picture.
yeah, he does. So again, join us on 20 August when Joe Stearns spends an hour with us discussing home rule. So, yep, Halkovich, definitely. It's interesting how effectively they're applying pressure on him, right? They had him step down as chairman. The women
No, they pressured him. He stepped down as chairman. Instead of saying completely
out.
Out.
But they're continuing to keep the pressure on him. Whereas in Carbon County, when there was an incident with a low row officer, they did not aggressively pursue that. And unfortunately, those who were harassed by that individual weren't willing to come public. And so for years and years, for a decade, a bad actor continued to be in a position where action should have been taken sooner by the Board of Commissioners, by the courts, by everyone in the quote-unquote chain of command. That's a debacle. Continues to be.
Alrighty then.
But I still like, well, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, leave it there.
Yeah.
Area sees spike in animal cruelty calls. That's what's highlighted.
Yeah, it is, because I think...
Oh wait, there's more.
Well, right, but that one, that's above the fold, and we got 17 minutes to go. That animal cruelty one, that could apply. We've seen during the pandemic, right? I think there's, except for us, which I don't think there are, there's been increased tensions in household. The kids are there 24/7, right? The parents are spending more time together.
Some of them are trying to work from home, do their kids and all that.
Yeah, so I think there's an increase in a lot of negative things, and I can see it in mental health issues, animal abuse, or at least according to this article. I didn't see any specific data though, and that's what bothered me about that article, Maggie. I was looking for specific numbers because I'm a data person. Well, don't just tell me.
Is that anecdotal? Is like well, it seems.
Well,
like
it seemed like, you know. So let's see. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Spike. Nope, not one number.
One statistic.
You need more PhD. Let me see. Just I'm making sure I'm right. Yep, spike. So again, to me, you know what? Who wrote that article?
Danielle. Is it? No.
Danielle.
Is it Danielle?
You need to take it to the next level. I'm telling you.
Danny.
You should have held Donna Crum accountable. Show me the data. Because again,
Donna was saying that?
Well, I'm saying that. It was from, she's talking to Donna Crum,
right.
Animal Cruelty Officer. Look, show me the numbers. Yeah. Again, the anecdotal stuff just adds. What's the other one?
Because, people tend to sometimes imagine that things are worse than they are when they really are. Yep. Closure a portion of DNL trail. Why'd you?
Well, the DNL trail, you know why? But that's a cue for me.
It's a mile above the Slatington, the nature.
Environmental center.
No, not environmental.
Conserving.
It's Chris. Lehigh Gap Nature Center.
Lehigh Gap Nature Center. A mile above that.
No, right from there
north
to a mile north. Yeah.
Which doesn't that take you close to Bowmanstown?
Yes.
Or around that area?
Yeah.
But so why would I bring this up if it's
right?
Well, first, it is in Carbon County, and this is Carbon Matters. But secondly, Maggie, there's something else about the DNL trail I want to talk to, and that was my cue. So again, we have more or less an unsafe space between the pedestrian bridge, just about 400 meters to our front, and the end of the county parking lot. So we're working to create a safe connection. So what you're going to see from the bridge, the pedestrian bridge, all the way up to the north end of the parking lot, we have a grant, and we're in the final stages of planning a safe passage for those who are using the DNL. Now it'll probably be about a 4-foot wide, 5-foot wide path, primarily over existing macadam, but it'll be separated from the parking lot by at least split rail fence. So there's some barrier between the parking lot. We're only going to lose a couple parking spaces.
That's needed because I was riding actually on Saturday, and I came down through the parking lot, and there was a van that was parked between the guardrail and the little pedestrian thing, and it was like this, and it had its door open literally across, so I had to like swerve around. But had they not been looking and just opened their door when I was coming by, it would have taken me out. But hopefully they wouldn't have done that though.
Oh, right.
So, all right. So
I don't get this. Yeah.
Next thing is Lehighton to open swimming to surrounding towns.
Right. Well, I think great for Lehighton. Realize they can have a little bit more capacity out there. Opening up swimming at the beautiful municipal pool in Lehighton, I think that's fantastic.
I'm sorry, I have to go back to the animal
Yeah.
cruelty because Sarah Louise said shelters have seen an increase in adoption since COVID by 60%.
So
but
that
an adoption though
is in cruelty.
Well, no, but adoption would mean that there's more of them going out.
Right.
Or more of them coming in.
Well, no, it doesn't necessarily. Adoption is taking one out. But you're trying to say that simply because more are going out, more are coming in. Again, show me the data. But I do recall reference to that. And again, I think it's people seeking comfort. Hopefully those people will retain that comfort, meaning that pet beyond the pandemic when they're no longer home all day, potentially looking for companionship. I don't think, and I was up talking to Tom Connors a couple weeks ago, I haven't heard of any notable spike in Carbon County.
Tom runs the shelter.
Right.
In case you don't know.
Any notable spike. But again, there's a particular breed that shelter tends to hold. So you're not going to go up there and seldom, I'm not saying never, you're not going to get nice, cute puppies. Well, you'll get nice, cute puppies when they're there, but seldom are there nice little puppies.
It's a difficult situation.
There's just, again, there's not...
I have a hard time with, that's just my personal opinion. I believe that they need a good home or a good place. However, with the breed, you don't know what might trigger them. You don't know what's in their past, what might have happened to them. And it's, it would be unfortunate.
Well, I think some refer to it as an aggressive breeds or something.
Some would say
Some
that.
people would call them an
Chris
aggressive breed.
Chris has been lambasted about that before.
For using that term. You know what? Term. If that word offends you.
Sorry.
No, I'm not saying sorry.
That's
the term I use.
Sorry,
it's an aggressive breed. You can love them. I have a niece who has one that's great dog. That's fine. Love what you love, hate what you hate. I really don't care.
All right.
Let's
move on.
Yeah.
Carbon forming committees for CARES grant.
Well, I mean, we spent so much time, right? $5.79 million. Application period 15 to 31 July. Go to carboncounty.com. Go to the portal.
Oh.
That is it.
That
is it.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I said that.
Yeah. No.
PA needs income from fireworks.
Yeah, so again, and I want to shout out to Annette and the good folks in Lehighton who really made a concerted effort due to the unfortunate environment in which they were living. It seemed like they were in a war zone constantly down there on 2nd Street, South 2nd Street in Lehighton. And we've seen that throughout areas. It seems part of this constant fireworks that are uncomfortable for some really stems from Pennsylvania opening up sales to anyone in Pennsylvania. Because I will tell you what we used to do when we were in Virginia. When you came into Pennsylvania, you could only buy fireworks. It was right south of Gettysburg, across the state line. You had to be an out-of-state resident to buy the fireworks. Fortunately, we had identification while we were living in Virginia that allowed us to buy those. And we were actually coming up here into Carbon County for our son.
In a rural location.
Really rural. Not in a built-up area. And our son did that because he came up every summer to spend with his aunt and uncle. Again, we would help stock up on
and this is my. It's like fireworks on a holiday. Awesome. Not all the time.
Yeah, and again, it's about being considerate to others.
Of your neighbors.
Considerate of neighbors, the pets they have.
Yeah, in the case of Annette, she has a husband who has PTSD. She had to put down one of her cats that had like the concussion from the fireworks. did a brain bleed and they had to put the,
Yeah.
the
So again, be considerate, but Annette took it to the commissioners, took
She
it
did
to
a
the
great
municipality,
job. She took it
had
to
the
the-
petition.
Yep, and the police.
Yep.
And she found the ordinance, or the whatever, the state ordinance. It would be a state law. It would be the state law. She found the state law, and that gave them all the authority they needed to be able to enforce it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because until then, they had no ordinance in the town that.
Well, I think
that
Lee
covered
Heighton's
them.
developing.
They are developing.
And I
that.
think
See, that's
Palmerton
another
is,
good thing that came
Coaldale.
up. Yeah, and it's
A couple,
it's
yeah.
spurring a lot of the other communities to do that as well.
Right.
Please just enforce a state law stating no fireworks within 150 feet of a building.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, enforce the laws that are on the book, right? That's a
Yeah.
consistent problem. We keep putting more and more laws on the book to enforce laws we don't enforce. You know?
Right.
You know?
Here's a letter to the editor by Roy Chrisman. Removing Columbus statue is a silly proposal.
I agree, but
Yes.
what is Roy? Is that what he's really talking about? That doesn't sound like Roy Chrisman.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Roy Chrisman.
No, but
Is he being sarcastic?
No, he was not being sarcastic, but he was saying
Is there bigger problems?
Yeah.
Okay, so
about the Native Americans.
okay, so
Yeah.
don't focus on that. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay,
But you highlighted it.
yeah.
This is a great one because it's very. You need to address this. Concerns raised over a redneck festival. It's going to happen, or as of right now, it's.
They haven't canceled it yet.
They have not canceled it yet, but people keep saying to Chris that he needs to get it canceled. But you go ahead.
Not my job.
No, not his.
No,
not his
it
area
is.
of
You know,
authority.
again,
Yeah.
and I think again, we all go through a learning process about what different levels of government do. You know, the Redneck Festival, for it or against it, it is a great, fun event that's been used to raise funds, which I think is great. The concern that is being brought to us, given the pandemic, and that it might be a needless magnet for large numbers of people coming together. An individual had emailed us, and again, politely responded. You know, they thought the commissioners shouldn't be allowing it. Again, the commissioners don't have the authority to prohibit or to allow any event in any municipality. Now, Josiah White Park, Mock Chunk Lake Park, the Park County parking lot, yes, we can control that. We can give a special activity request. But again, guess what? You still have to get a municipality permit also. Again,
Right.
Weisport, where the Redneck Festival is, that's an issue, concern for Weisport Borough Council. I just did see, though, with the new restrictions, like on 250, just saw a cancellation of a festival that was previously on.
The Palmerton.
The Palmerton Festival is now canceled?
Yes.
Okay, and they thought they were going to push forward in a modified format originally,
Originally. And
just
then
like food vendors or
just
something.
food vendors, no rides, no art, craft tent, no games.
Yeah, so now that's in the
And
tonight's
now
Times
now
news.
that just the food is out
All right.
as well.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So again, hey, hold on though, because I
Okay.
want to remind people about 20 August when we're going to be joined by Joe Stearns, Best Schuylkill Pack, right? He's going to come here and talk to us about home rule. So that is basically Carbon County or a county in Pennsylvania having a charter, its own constitution, being much more in control of its destiny. That which the Constitution or the law doesn't forbid, those counties under home rule, such as Lehigh County, are able to determine their own destiny, right? So there's no longer the senior leader or leaders are not the Board of Commissioners. There's actually a chief executive with part-time commissioners is normally how it's set up. You can eliminate row officers. So instead of having elected sheriff, prothonotary, clerk of courts, they're actually career technocrats versus elected officials, which can be very helpful for having more effective, more efficient government. Again, so we're going to talk about that once again in detail with Joe Stearns on 20 August right here on Carbon Matters, Thursday the 20th.
All right, next one. County extends lake restrictions.
Right. So I haven't even posted this on Facebook out of today's commissioners meeting, right? Back in June, we made a motion during yellow phase to start restricting utilization of Mock Chunk Lake Park. It was initially camping and swimming areas to county residents only. After we went from yellow to green, we opened up camping to non-county residents, but kept swimming access to county residents. Well, today, the Commissioner Arner and I, Wayne was out on vacation, we voted to continue the restrictions at Mock Chunk Lake Park through Labor Day weekend, through Labor Day, basically. So therefore, the swimming area will be limited, continue to be limited to 600 individuals, county residents, those who are camping overnight, those who have season passes, or if you rent a pavilion and having a party, absolutely. You also will have beach access. But again, we're going to keep that below 600. We're going to continue to ensure for the remainder of the summer you have a safe area in which to recreate, right? We want to ensure you're having a good quality experience out there. Additionally, for Saturdays and Sundays, as we see, and we've also started to see it during the week where we have these increased flow of individuals from Beltsville, Hickory Run, and other areas, non-county residents, we will have a increased sheriff presence out there. In addition, tomorrow, before I leave this office tomorrow at 4:30, there will be 2 memorandums going to the Jim Thorpe Police Department and Summit Hill Police Department requesting that they get on the wagon and provide increased patrolling activity within their jurisdiction in Mock Chunk Lake Park. Again, we need to have a show of presence out there to ensure that our rangers or those in the park who work there aren't being harassed, bullied, when we have to turn away non-county residents or individuals who are otherwise, during this extreme circumstance, not permitted to be into the swim beach
They're being
area.
bullied?
Well, again, it's that, I call it bullying. It's that verbal abuse that they're taking. And again, that show of presence will be an effective at mitigating individuals acting up. And I saw it when we had them out there on 4th of July weekend. You see that uniformed sheriff out there, less likely to act up.
So are the sheriffs not going to continue being out there then?
Yes, they are. That's what I said.
But you said the police from
Well, I
Jim
still
Thorpe
believe Jim Thorpe Police Department and Summit Hill, whose Mock Chunk Lake Park falls in their jurisdiction, they need to show more of a presence out there.
Okay.
And I want to shout out to Joey Schatz, and Mayor Safranco, who are willing to help us previously. Summit Hill, you hadn't stepped up to the plate with your police department. Haven't heard back from them on 2 occasions. So I'm calling you on the carpet. Get on the ball. Just be more aggressive. Be more aggressive in your patrolling in Summit Hill, which is Mock Chunk Lake Park also. Isn't there an article on that? I'm getting fired up now.
Yes, you are.
Is it on that one? Find that one real quick.
Right there.
Where was it say?
Summit Hill wants police to be more assertive.
Right, so does the Carbon County Board of Commissioner, Chris Lukasevich at least. Again, I want you to be out there having a presence in Summit Hill, Mock Chunk Lake Park, part of Summit Hill. And I want you to return phone calls and emails.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, fired me up.
Carbon
We got about 2 minutes and we're going to cut her down.
We're almost done.
Yeah.
Carbon kiosks to be operating by September 1st.
Okay, boom, we're continuing to push ahead with the kiosks. We're modifying. The kiosks are there, but they won't be operational until the beginning of September. I had about a 45-minute to an hour kind of orientation to the software package that's going to be utilized as part of the kiosk system. We got some unique things we're going to do differently from Jim Thorpe that are going to be extremely beneficial to county residents. This is one of my, Maggie, remember that list over there?
Yes.
One of those day one motions. Well, another one's going to be going green. I can feel it. based upon the new ordinance. So again, keep your eyes tuned, ears tuned, eyes peeled for the new parking ordinance that's being developed to support the kiosks that are going to come into place.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Rich Giordano. Hey Chris, I've been asking about a 4-way stop sign on 6th Street in Weatherly for years. I was told by a council member I would never get it. Chris, they come down the street more than 25 miles per hour. Someone will get killed. I need help. Can you help me? Thank you.
Well, this is what I can do. One, is that state highway or is it the municipal roads? If it's a municipal roads, I'll go ahead. We'll get in contact with Paul Hasdick, the mayor. Talk to him. He is responsible for the police department. So if you can kind of sidebar me tomorrow or give me a call at 570-503-6780. Give me the details on those streets. If it's municipal, I'll get in touch with Mayor Paul up there. And if it's on state highway, well then we'll go ahead and we'll make a call down to Doyle Heffley. 503-6780 or 570-325-3611. All right, so 570-325-3611. That's right here in the office. I tried that one
Rich,
first.
I put that phone in the comments. That way you can look it back up.
Yeah, and I'll look at the stream, and I'll probably jump on Google Earth or Google Maps just to see if it's state highway or municipal
They
road.
said 6th and someone put the actual cross street.
All right,
so,
that's good. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
we'll
one
see.
last thing.
Yep.
Talking about roads too. Again, 209 closure.
Yeah, it's going to be a soft finish. So Route 209 finally between basically the bridge and Bridge and Jim Thorpe Liberties all the way up to Nesquehoning, the Broad Mountain, from 7 a.m. to 3, the 20th through the 23rd. So starting on Monday next week, that's going to be shut down. So you're going to have to detour around.
I'm sorry, that's Weatherly. That's the.
Okay.
Yeah,
So from 7 to 3, right between Jim Thorpe and Nesquehoning, the Broad Mountain and the Liberties and Broad Mountain, that's going to be shut down. Let me real quick here. Hey, Mock Chunk Lake Park, here it is. Thank you all so much, all who emailed. There's well over 60 emails supporting further restrictions or the continuation of restrictions for Mock Chunk Lake Park.
You made your voice heard.
You made your voice heard, and it was heard.
You can't go against the people. If the people say.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I don't think the county has ever received 60 emails on any issue. On any issue. So thank you so much for stepping up to the plate just when I needed you most.
Yeah.
Parking study, Jim Thorpe, we're going to talk about that next month. The month after. We got time to work that, but there are some good recommendations on there, and I'm committed to ensuring all of us have a safe pedestrian experience when you come to visit the county seat. And visit me in the third floor of the administration building. Never hesitate when you're in Jim Thorpe to drop in. Give me a call, 570-503-6780, 570-325-3611. Set up an appointment and come and see me. Give me a phone call. Drop me an email. I want to know what's going on in your corner of Carbon County, from Audenried, Luzanne, East Side Borough, down to Toamensing, Lower Toamensing. Let's jump over to East Penn Township. From corner to corner, north, south, east, and west, cardinal directions. Drop me a line, 570-503-6780. That's my cell phone. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on 20 August, 8 to 9:30. Special edition with Joe Stern. Best Schuylkill, better Schuylkill pack. Right, tune in. Thank you guys so much.